Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money, with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 208 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm going to talk about gamification today. And I'm not talking about frittering away your time playing Candy Crush. I'm talking about using game techniques to get people to engage with your content. And I'm going to give you some secret psychological techniques that, you know what I'm going to have to do if you tell anybody? I'm going to have to, well, you know what I'm going to have to do. So don't reveal them to anybody. I lied. I want you to tell everybody, tell the world. All right, hope you didn't miss episode 207. That was Barbara Kozam. She's a super fun international customer service speaker and former pro beach volleyball player. Check that out. Now, if you're listening to this in November 2019, you should go to the show notes as soon as humanly possible and join my super sweepstakes and giveaway. Over $32,000 in prizes, and everyone wins just for joining. It's also a good example of a viral technique. Now, I covered viral marketing in episode 46 of Screw the Commute podcast, and when you join, you immediately get a copy of my $27 ebook, The Kickstart Guide to Viral Marketing. Now, if you've been listening to the show a long time, this is not the one I give away all the time on automation. This is a special one that hasn't been given away on viral marketing. Plus, if you tell your friends about this sweepstakes through the unique link I give you, you get 20 more chances to win if they join the sweepstakes. Plus, you get 5 more chances to win just for sharing it on social media, whether anyone joins or not. It costs nothing to join, and you could win the grand prize or one of the 48 other prizes. So get over to screwthecommute.com/208. That's the show notes for this episode, and join. All right. Our sponsor is the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. It's a distance learning school which teaches legitimate techniques to make a great living, either working for someone else or starting your own online business. I'll tell you more about that later, but we got big scholarships for military, first responders, and law enforcement, and a special one for military spouses. But at any rate, we finance, 0 interest, no credit check. We get you. I want you in my school where I know you're not going to get ripped off. So check it out at imtcva.org. And if you're military, put /military. And of course, it'll be in the show notes. All right, let's get to the main event, gamification. Now, it's not always about playing games. It has to do with ways you can get people to engage with your content. The term was coined by computer programmer and inventor, a guy named Nick Pelling, way back in 2003, but didn't really catch on until much later than that. So let me give you some definitions of gamification. Google says it's the application of typical elements of game playing to other areas of activity, typically as an online marketing technique to encourage engagement with a product or service. Wikipedia says it's the use of game elements and game design techniques in non-game context. Now, there's lots of ways to add gamification to your content. But before we get into the, 7 or 8 of them that I'm going to give you, I'm going to tell you about, I want to tell you about the psychology of getting people to do things. This is somewhat the basis of gamification, and any time you want to get a certain behavior out of someone else. Now, this is the part that's, you know what I got to do to you if you tell anybody. No, I'm kidding again. Yeah, this is really powerful stuff right here, folks. So really pay attention to this. So the science of influencer changing someone's behavior, that's what I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to go by the Fogg behavioral model. That's FOGG. There's tons written about this online, about Mr. Fogg, who came up with it, and the deep psychology and use of this mode of behavioral change. Now, I'm going to give you the Cliff's Notes, which will be plenty enough to help you sell more of your stuff and get more engagement with your content. Now, Mr. Fogg says there are 3 things required to get someone to perform a certain action. First is motivation. The person wants to perform the behavior. In other words, he's motivated, or she. Next is the ability. And so the person can easily do the behavior, or he or she considers it to be simple to do. And then the trigger. That is, the behavior is cued, or you remind them, or you give them a call to action or something like that. So Mr. Fogg says all 3 elements have to be present and occur at exactly the same moment to successfully engage people. And there's even a formula for it. Here it is. Behavior equals motivation plus ability plus a trigger. I'll repeat that. Behavior equals motivation plus ability plus a trigger. So our topic of gamification is not just adding game elements to your content. It's about providing people with psychological motivators in a way that makes your content more fun and interactive. Now, apparently, motivation is the hardest part of the formula to manipulate. This is why making things extremely easy for someone, that's the ability part. In other words, they don't have to have much skill to do what you want them to do. This raises motivation to the point when you give them the appropriate trigger, which can be a reminder or a call to action, you're more likely to be successful in getting the person to do what you want them to do. Now, I got to admit, I'm somewhat reluctant to put this information out because it has been abused like crazy, and it's the cause of billions of dollars of losses to people because they're what are called done-for-you programs. I think 99% of those programs should be called done-to-you programs. This is where unscrupulous vendors make things sound so easy, and that all you have to do is give them money and everything you wanted will be done for you. So what this does is it takes the ability part of the equation pretty much to zero. You don't have to have any skill or do any work to get all these benefits that these shysters promise you. So when the ability part of the equation goes to zero, the motivation part skyrockets, and they get your money just by giving you the trigger part of the equation, which could be something like this is only good during this seminar, which is like an urgency-based call to action. Now, let me recap that formula in case you're getting lost here. The behavior you want them to do, give you money or buy your stuff or whatever, equals motivation, they have to want to do it, plus the ability, it has to be easy for them to do, plus a trigger or reminder or call to action. So behavior equals motivation plus ability plus trigger. Now here's the fallacy in most done-for-you, like I call them done-to-you programs. To actually do a good job and do everything necessary to give you the benefits you are looking for would in most cases take 10 times the money and person power that the vendor is asking. I mean, giving you a cheap price, good for just today, is the trigger part of the equation. So when both the zero ability and cheap price combine, your motivation to act goes through the roof. And it's only later you realize you got ripped off because there's no way everything that was needed could be done for such a cheap price. And you're left holding an unfinished website or whatever it is you're buying. Now, I'm not saying every vendor is like this. I'm just saying they are everywhere, and I'm warning you to watch out for them. Also, I'm warning you that if you use what I'm teaching you here to rip people off, I just might come after you in my Scam Brigade TV show. Check out the trailer at scambrigade.com. So, now you have the idea, and I'll go over the Fogg formula one more time. Behavior equals motivation plus ability plus trigger. So let's start out with the example of the sweepstakes I'm running right now. First, my goal is to get people to tell others about my contest, and obviously this is to open up new markets for me and expose my stuff to more people and build my list. So the first behavior is to join the contest. And the second behavior I want is I'm looking for them to share it. So let's see how that works. Remember, I said earlier that motivation is the hardest part of the equation. So to motivate people to join, I've provided high value and unique prizes that make sense for my target market. In this case, the grand prize is $19,100 scholarship to my distance learning school. And I have several $3,000 consulting packages with me personally. Then I have a bunch of $297 copywriting courses, and then a whole bunch of $97 fundraising courses, and then even more of my $47 ebook, How to Advertise Your Business Online. Plus, everyone that enters gets a copy of my $27 ebook, Kickstart Guide to Viral Marketing. There's going to be 49 prize winners, and everybody wins something. So let's look at a recap of my efforts to motivate people to join. I say things like, everyone is a winner. I say, over $32,000 in prizes. I say, 49 big prize winners. I say, refer your friends and get even more chances to win, and things like that. So that's my motivation element of the formula. Now let's look at the ability element. All they have to do is put in their name and email, which everybody knows how to do. It's no skill at all, and it's really easy. Then the trigger is hearing about it. I email them or put it in social media or whatever. And the fact that the contest only runs for a limited time, so they better get in it now. So that's their reminder and call to action. Now let's move on to the second behavior that I want. That first behavior was just to get them to join the contest. The second behavior is I want them to share it. So as soon as they enter, they get one chance to win. But they hit the next page, which tells them if they refer a friend through their unique link, they will get 20 more chances to win. Aha, motivation again. Plus, they get 5 extra chances to win for each social media platform I've included for them to share to, and that's even if no one signs up from their social media. All right, so let's look at the ability, or how easy I make it for them in this second part. Their unique URL is right there in front of them to share with their friends or do an email blast to their list or post to their website, social media, all that. All they have to do is click on a particular social media platform, and I've pre-written a posting or tweet for them. Of course, they can add to it if they want. So that's the ability. It makes it really easy for them to share it. Now the triggers. When they participate, they get email updates with their point totals. And although I didn't do it on this promotion, you can also put leaderboards to create competition. See, a leaderboard tells them who's winning, who's got the most chances to win. So these email updates not only trigger the person or remind them to share, it motivates them because they see their chances to win keep increasing. So to see this in action, get your butt over there to my show notes for this episode and join. And remember, everybody's a winner, and you'll immediately get the $27 ebook, Kickstart Guide to Viral Marketing. And this is episode 208. All right, now let's get into some of the gamification techniques you can use. I think I've included about 7 or 8 of them here. I did a contest one time, which is in itself a little gamification, contests. And I just mentioned leaderboards, so people could see where they stood in the rankings, and this created a little competition so people would try harder to win. That's just a simple example of gamification. And I could have just simply held the contest, but by adding the leaderboard, we got bigger results. Sometimes you see a form of leaderboard on blogs and websites where they list their most popular articles. So there's not real competition there, but they're telling you, oh, this article is really popular. All right, so before I get into telling you a bunch of gamification elements that you could create in your content, let me tell you about my school. It's the only licensed, dedicated distance learning internet marketing school in the country. It's certified to operate and highly scrutinized by the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. And we've been accepted into the Department of Defense program for military spouse scholarships. And the reason we got accepted is because we teach an actual skill, internet marketing, and it's in high demand. I mean, virtually every single business on earth uses the internet, and they're desperate to get people to help them. And the skill is portable. You can live and work from anywhere that you can get an internet connection. You or your teenage child could be earning a great living very quickly if you had the knowledge I teach in this school. The school itself also gives big scholarships to military, law enforcement, and first responders. So check it out at imtcva.org. And if you're military, put /military. And of course, this will be in the show notes. All right, let's get to some other gamification. I just mentioned contests and leaderboards. How about quizzes? And by the way, lots of this stuff is covered in episode 46 in Viral Marketing and in the book you will get from joining my current contest. It's running till November 30th of 2019, in case you're listening to this later. Yeah, quizzes can go really big. BuzzFeed has them, and some of them have 50 million uses of the quizzes. So they're fully covered in the ebook that you'll get. Badges. People like achievement badges. I mean, think Boy Scout and Girl Scout, just to get a picture in your mind. They're sashes with all their achievement badges. Well, you can make this happen on your website and in your content when people pass certain milestones. Levels is another kind of, I guess it's a kind of a badge, but it's a little different. This is very common in video games where each level gets harder to achieve. See, they make the first levels easy. This is part of the behavior to get you playing, and then you kind of get sucked in, and then things get harder as you go, and then your achievement is more, it gives you more prestige the higher levels you get. See, so that's levels. Challenges. You've certainly seen how challenges have hit the scene, from the ice bucket challenge for a couple of years ago to even exercise challenges on Apple Watches. Another one is progress bars. I mean, these normally go across the top of the screen telling you where you are in a process. Maybe you're filling out a form and part one of the form is your name and email. So the progress bar would move a little across the top of the screen. Then the second part of the form is your address and phone number, and the progress bar goes further and so forth. Or maybe you have an online class and the bar shows how far someone has progressed. All right, another one is an actual game. Now, I've never created an actual game, but you could create a game based around your content. The last one is points and rewards. I mean, you can give out points, or in my case, for the contest I'm running now, or the sweepstakes, the points are called chances to win. They're basically points, but there's chances to win. And you can reward people for certain actions, also kind of like frequent flyer programs or frequent buyer programs, or buy 9 of whatever you're selling and get the 10th free, or something like that. That's all gamification. There are many ways to add gamification to your content and products. And speaking of products, I want to briefly bring up the topic of consumption. See, if people don't consume or actually use your product after they purchased it, they're not likely to buy future products from you. So you can add engagement techniques in your products. A simple one is like the progress bar I just talked about. Or maybe you hide Easter eggs in your product. An Easter egg is a hidden feature or image or bonus. Having these would most assuredly have people hunting for more of them while consuming your product. Okie doke, so that's it on gamification. Pay close attention to Mr. Fogg's behavior formula and get over and join my contest at screwthecommute.com/208. Now, next episode is 209, Lee Mosler. He's a single dad, a veteran, and a guy who has a lifestyle business which allows him to homeschool and spend the entire day with his young boy. I love that. Also, hey, go over and give us a review over at iTunes and leave a comment for us. It really helps the show out. So I will catch everybody on the next episode. See you later.